Ever since Ash left Pallet Town, fans have been speculating about one thing. Does Ash have a dad? In rewatching the first season, I made some very interesting discoveries that could finally put this mystery to rest. But first, I'm going to take the wind out of a few people's sails by shooting down popular theories about the usual suspects for Dear Old Dad, and explaining why your precious headcanons are wrong! Now, the most popular candidate is Giovani, Gym Master of Viridian City and the leader of Team Rocket. For the longest time, the godfather of Kanto was always in the shadows, never crossing paths with our protagonist, instead giving orders from the rear, showing up occasionally to give Jesse and James a bollocking about how useless they are. Very much like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. Towards the end of the Indigo series, Ash returns to Viridian City to battle for the Earth Badge, but of course Gary the Poké-douche gets there first, and for the first time, we finally see Giovanni's face. With Mewtwo, he quickly wipes that smug grin off Gary's face. However, before he can battle Ash, he and Mewtwo are called away to an emergency, leaving Jesse and James to look after the gym in his absence, thus missing his chance to meet Ash and see if that Pikachu that Team Retard are so completely obsessed with is as powerful as they say. So because Ash and Giovanni missed each other, fans speculated that Giovanni might be Ash's father. But the writing team was planning a big Darth Vader style reveal.
Professor Oak never told you what happened to your father, did he?
He told me enough! He told me you killed him!
No, my boy. I am your father.
So is this a good time to talk about my allowance? Even the old Pokemon musical implies that he and Dahlia briefly dated in their younger days, but any relation to Ash has been canonically debunked in the anime. Ash and Giovanni meet a grand total of twice throughout the entire series. The first time is very briefly in the movie Mewtwo Returns. They only share the screen for a few seconds before Ash takes Mewtwo away to the Sacred Spring, while Misty and Brock hold off Giovanni and his minions. He and Ash clearly don't recognise each other. This is the first time the hero and the main villain of the series meet face to face, and there's no bells and whistles about it. Well, it is a dramatic moment, but it's not very personal to either Ash or Giovanni. You'd think that if it were a father and son, there'd be more interaction between the two of them. The second time they meet is years later during the Black and White seasons. Ash is trying to protect Meloetta when they're ambushed by Giovanni and his Persian. After trading a couple of blows, Ash and Pikachu are soon defeated and captured, and once again, Ash and Giovanni don't know each other. Giovanni even threatens to crush Ash with a shrinking cube to force Meloetta to surrender. Again, the meeting isn't even personal between Ash and Giovanni. Both are more focused on Meloetta. They don't even have that much in the way of a hero and villain dynamic. As far as Giovanni is concerned, Ash is nothing more than an interfering vigilante, and as far as Ash is concerned, Giovanni is just another typical bad guy. In addition, Ash knows very well who his father is. Throughout the series, we actually get a few small tidbits about him. In the second episode, when Ash calls home to tell his mum about his progress, she knows that it took his dad 4 days to reach Viridian City from Pallet Town. Likely because he didn't have a flock of irate birds chasing him, or have to commandeer a bike from another irate bird.
You're already in Viridian City? It took your father 4 days to get there when he started Pokemon training. Oh, he'll be so proud. You're the apple of his eye.
Yeah, a rotten apple.
We can deduce from this that Ash's dad does keep in contact with the family, and that their relationship is a positive one. Further shown in the movie Secrets of the Jungle, when Ash tells Coco that when everyone laughed at his dream of becoming a Pokemon master, Ash's dad encouraged him to follow his dream, and told him that the map to your dreams comes from inside you, and that if you give up, your dream will never come true. Finally, in the special episode, The Distant Blue Sky, which follows the new continuity of the I Choose You movie, Ash is excited to meet with his dad after such a long time, but by the time he gets to the Pokemon Center where his mum's waiting for him, his dad has already left to deal with an emergency to do with work. Ash is disappointed, however his father did leave him a thoughtful present, his hat from the original continuity. So, a positive father-son relationship, coupled with the fact that they do have semi-regular contact, is nothing like Ash's interactions with Giovanni, and that he and Ash are complete strangers. Giovanni is not Ash's father. He is, however, the father of Silver, that whiny, tantrum-throwing crybaby who keeps following you around in the Johto games. Silver seems to be a popular name in the Pokemon world, because another character people accuse of being Ash's father is Silver from the Pokemon Chronicles series. This is based entirely on Silver acting surprised when Richie mentions his friend Ash.
Ash?
Yeah.
Which doesn't prove anything. By the time of that episode, Ash was in Hoenn, having competed in the Indigo League, Johto's Silver Conference, and become champion of the Orange League. By that time, Ash was a minor celebrity, considered a local hero in Pallet Town, so of course Silver knows Ash, or at least knows about him. I don't follow invasion sports, but even I know who Chris Rydlinski is, partly because rugby is pretty big in Wigan, like football in Liverpool. Though I did deliver newspapers around his neighbourhood when I was a kid. You don't need to be related to someone to know about them. Even Max recognised Ash from the television when they first met. Other than repeating his name, people think Silver is Ash's dad because he saw a legendary Firebird when he was little and has a starter Pokemon that likes to sit on his shoulder. Now, I am aware that not all of you have passed your GCSE in biology, so I'll be kind and give you a little science lesson. Those aren't characteristics passed down through genetics! The player character from the original games has a penchant for wearing a red coat and hat. Does that mean he's related to Terry from Fatal Fury? Finally, we have Dr. Spencer Hale from the third movie. Not impossible, but not likely either. While Ash does remember playing with Molly Hale years ago, he only has very vague memories of Spencer himself.
Yes, but he and his family came back to Pallet Town for a visit a few years ago. Don't you remember?
Yeah. Sorta.
Since Ash does clearly remember his father encouraging his dreams, it's unlikely to be Spencer. Duh, so why isn't Ash's dad shown in this family photo? Because who do you think was holding the camera, you dozy twat? So, after shooting down all those so-called theories, which honestly aren't even real theories, they're just hypotheses based on circumstantial evidence, it leaves the question, who is Ash Ketchum's father? Well, this may shock you, but we've actually seen him, on screen, right there in plain sight in the very first episode. When Ash is first given Pikachu, a crowd of people is waiting outside the lab to see him off. Standing right next to Dahlia is a man holding a banner wishing Ash good luck. Tears are filling his eyes as he looks at Ash with pride. This isn't just a neighbour or a casual acquaintance, this is someone who knows Ash and is obviously very fond of him. He's the only one in that crowd besides Dahlia to tear up, as if he's watching his child's wedding or a university graduation. And this behaviour is consistent with everything we've been told about Ash's father. So there you have it. Ash's father isn't a wandering hardman or a major villain, just an unassuming face in the crowd. I think the reason everyone assumed that it was an important character like Giovanni is what's known in psychology as proportionality bias, or in layman's terms, the major event, major cause hypothesis. The belief that when something big happens, it's for a big reason. A father is an important figure in a child's development, so we all assumed that there was a big important reason for Ash's father to be absent, that he must play an important role later on, when in reality, the writers just couldn't find a role for him to play in the story, especially since anything he could have contributed to the plot could just as easily be done by Dahlia or Professor Oak. Similarly, everyone assumed that Giovanni never crossing paths with Ash was because it was building up to a big, earth-shattering revelation of the relationship between the two. Giovanni isn't just some guest character of the week, he's the driving force behind Team Rocket and the main villain of the original games. It's a pretty big deal that he and the protagonist aren't even aware of each other's existence. It's like if the old Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons never gave Dr. Robotnik any screen time. But the truth is, the writer just wanted Jesse James and Meowth to get all the attention, purely out of favouritism. The writers threw away a potentially interesting hero-villain dynamic just because they refused to sideline their precious pet characters a repetitive formula for one episode. So that's who I think is Ash's dad. Not a major player in the Pokemon world, but just a normal guy whose job takes him far away from home, like a truck driver. Then again, if he is a truck driver, it could explain why Ash picked up his habit of reversing his cap.
What I do is I just try to take my hat and I turn it around, and it's like a switch that goes on. And when the switch goes on, I feel like another person. I feel like a truck, like a machine.
Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this theory video. If you have, please consider subscribing, and if it's not too much trouble, consider sharing it. I'm hoping to reach 1,000 subscribers sometime this year. Or if you have your own theories about Ash's family tree, feel free to share them in the comment section. Thanks again for watching, and as they say in Univer, best wishes.